My name is Madine Najula. I have the distinct honor and the privilege of being your Master of Ceremonies this afternoon. First of all, I want to thank everyone for coming out this afternoon. I realize that with this 90-degree weather, you all could have been spending it at the Jersey Shore as opposed to coming here. Now, on a serious note, we do appreciate your fighting the elements and coming out this afternoon. We are indeed looking for a treat this afternoon. We have great food. As you have heard, we have great entertainment. And we also have some great information that we're going to share with you with regard to heart health. As you know, this event is the first annual heart health event we're having. This event is being sponsored by the Muslim League of Voters in conjunction with the American Heart Association. And I would like for you all to look at this as not just a lunch and an opportunity to have experience good entertainment, but I want you to look at this as a lunch and learn. Okay, a lunch and learn, because what you're going to learn about this afternoon are those things that we need to do individually and as a community to keep ourselves healthy. So you're going to be hearing a lot about heart this afternoon. When you think about it, throughout our years of coming up, we've heard all type of expressions in terms of, I've had a broken heart, or let's get to the heart of the matter. So as this afternoon proceeds, I want you to constantly think about all the things that we can do individually and as a community to promote healthy heart within our community. So with that being said, it is customary that we open up in prayer. So without any further ado, I'm going to ask our beloved Brother Imam Mustafa El-Amin to come up and open us in prayer. Let's bring him on with a round of applause. And by the way, I always mention this just as a caveat. Our Brother Imam is relatively newly married, so if you see a halo over his head, you know why.
Let us begin. We always try to recite the opening prayer of Quran called Al-Fatiha. We'll recite it in Arabic first, and then for those that are not Muslim, may not understand what we're saying, we'll translate it into English, inshallah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahmanir-Rahim. Maliki Yawmiddin. Iyaka nabudu wa iyaka nasta'in. Ihdina sirata mustaqim. Sirata alladhina an'amta alayhim. Ghayril maghdubi alayhim waladdallin. Ameen. With God's name, the merciful benefactor, the merciful redeemer, the most gracious, most merciful. All praises are due to God, Allah, the Lord of all the world, most gracious, most merciful, master of the day of judgment. You alone do we worship, and you alone do we seek for aid. Guide us on the straight path, the path of your favor, not the path of wrath, nor the path of those who go astray. Ameen. And the brother said I should take an opportunity just to make a comment. I'd like to congratulate Muslim League of Voters, American Heart Society, for bringing to our awareness, making an effort to bring to our awareness something concerning the heart, which is our center and our chest of our life. You know, when you think of the heart, not only do we think of it Islamically in a physical way, but also spiritually. And the reason we say that is because stress is not something that we can see, right? And stress is something that really, really hurts our health. I'm a cancer survivor myself. I had cancer in 2002, and I had prostate cancer, and then I had sinus cancer in 2008. And so as a survivor, one thing I do know, that stress is a major factor when it comes to our health as well as our diet. So in closing, just like to say, Muhammad the Prophet he said that there's a piece of flesh that is in our body. When it is good, the whole body is good. If it is bad, the whole body is bad. And they said, what is that? And he pointed to his chest, the heart, called qalb, right? It is also from the old book where it says, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. So we know how important the heart is, and it's told that the Quran was revealed upon his heart. So we commend the Muslim League of Voters, the American Society, the Heart Society for such a great effort in bringing to our awareness the importance of our health. And we really appreciate that, and I'm honored to have been able to be a part to open up with prayer, and that we all would be much more conscious of that. And as far as voting is concerned, Muslim League of Voters, keep doing what you're doing, and we have to support that much more, especially with what we see going on in the world today with the presidential candidates that's saying all kind of terrible things about Muslims and painting us in a certain way. One of the best ways to address that is with dawah, but most certainly registering to vote and coming out and doing what we have to do in selecting the best candidates, expressing our interests, that's expressing our interests. Alhamdulillah.
Thank you, Brother Mayor. Let's give him a round of applause. I just want to briefly share with you, I assume for the most part many of us are familiar with the American Heart Association, but for those of us who may not be, I just want to share with you a tidbit of information with regard to them. The American Heart Association is a nonprofit organization in the United States that fosters appropriate cardiac care in an effort to reduce disability and deaths caused by cardiovascular disease and stroke. So that's just a little bit about them. Hopefully a representative from the American Heart Association will be here this evening. She, at that time, will give you some more information in terms of what they're doing, and in particular what they're doing here in the local area. With that being said, I've shared with you some information regarding AHA, or the American Heart Association. I'm going to ask Qasim at this point in time to come up, who is the Vice President of the Muslim League of Voters, and he will give you an idea in terms of who we are and take it from there. So with that being said, let's bring him on with a round of applause.
Assalamu alaikum. I look at the audience. You know, it's very, 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 very cold outside, but in here, it's steaming hot. Y'all look so lovely. Okay, Muslim League of Voters, 1985. A group of brothers came together. I'm gonna go kind of fast. A group of brothers came together, and sisters, wanted to form an organization. We didn't know what to name them at first, a social club or what, but we wanted to get involved with the community. The Imam Wafdi Muhammad, may the peace and blessing be upon him, said, get involved with the mainstream. Some got educated, went into education, some went into business, ain't too many went into politics. So a few of us took upon ourselves to get involved in politics. So we had to find out, what is politics? Politics, when you get involved with the community, is like a social work. A lot of us, they want to have nothing to do with politics. You know, doing the first, we say, nah, bitter. But bitter also could mean a good thing. So I stand before you. Before I go any further, I'd be remiss if I don't mention a few great brothers who came to the table with this idea. One, he's no longer with us, Bilal D. Beasley, Carl Sharif, Brother Haq, Brother Nasir. All these brothers in return to Allah. But I was fortunate to be at the table when we came out with this idea to get involved with politics. We got knocked on the head from y'all at the beginning. At the very beginning, you looked at us and said, oh no, we don't want to have nothing to do with no politics. But what are they going to do for us? When they come to find out, politics feed you. That's right. Turn on your gas bill, water bill, make your clothes, because you got to vote on things. I'm going to cut it kind of short. So in 1985, we said, let's come up with a name. And the name came MLV, Muslim League of Voters. Now, mind you, we had to go and then search about politics in the community. First thing I had to find out, I said, well, who else can I go to? And there's a brother, he also was one of the first, Brother Yusuf. He was down in City Hall. He's one of the first politicians. He was under the mayor. I went to him, I said, what can I do to get involved in the community? He said, brother, he set me down. He said, you gotta become a district leader. I said, district who? He's a district leader. I said, what is a district leader? He said, one who is involved with the community, with the county, and with the state. I said, county, state? Mm-hmm. But you know what? All you gotta do is go knocking on doors and get familiar with the people. When doing this, then I got involved with the PTA meeting, et cetera, et cetera. And the thing I know, I was running for district leader. I didn't win the first time. I did not win the first time. I got in on my father's name. My father was a very, very good jazz player, Gus Young, and I was junior. And they said, well, don't put your name on the paper. But the next time, I won hands down, along with Bilal Beasley. He went into Irvington, I was in Newark. Like I said, we came together and we formed the Muslim League of Voters. We was in the crib. We worked under the radar. That's over with. No more under the radar. We're here now. No more hot dogs or crackers. You feel me? Huh? And you know what? Politics is local. Politics is local. And you start at your house. Believe me, you start at home. Brothers and sisters, I don't talk too much. I like to work. But as I look down, I know I'm getting a single. They rolling their eyes at me now. I love y'all. And the best is yet to come. The best is yet to come from the Muslim League of Voters. As I said before I leave, I've been around y'all for over 50 years. The Muslim League was born now 31 years. So as I look out there, my family's here and my extended family. Y'all know Qasim. Remember Gus X? So listen, let's keep on keeping on. All right? And if you ain't registered now, before you leave here, you gotta register. Assalamu alaikum. Enjoy.
Takbir. For those of you who aren't familiar with that exclamation takbir, it simply means God is greater. So if you hear us say takbir, we're just trying to generate a response for the Muslims, and they usually respond with Allahu Akbar. For our Christian brothers and sisters, you may want to say hallelujah. Okay? But at any rate, with that being said, Qasim has given us a brief overview in terms of the history of the Muslim League of Voters. At this time, we're going to ask the chairperson, or shall I say chairwoman, to come up here and share with you the mission statement of the Muslim League of Voters, and that is Sister Rashid.
And good afternoon. When I look out on this sea of bread, my sisters are looking so beautiful today. I am glad to be in your presence. Now, did that prior speaker say he wasn't a politician? We must have missed that. I am not quite as flamboyant as my brother Qasim, but I will read to you what our mission statement is for the Muslim League of Voters. The purpose of the Muslim League of Voters is to establish consistent political and economic dignity. We believe that through the concerted and sincere efforts of determined and fearless, striving individuals, we as a people can make unlimited progress. The Muslim League of Voters, realizing the plight of our people and the great need for community progress and development, focus on 4 essential concerns: political, economic, social, and educational. We believe if these areas can be properly cultivated, our community will become strong, powerful, and productive. Furthermore, our aim is to bring together the right-minded, and I repeat, right-minded, striving citizens who are serious about advancing our people in the community. We share the view that power concedes nothing without a demand. The Muslim League of Voters has been at the forefront of providing voter information, education, and empowerment for our community. We are a nonpartisan voter education, voter advocacy, and voter information organization. The vote of our community is so important. We don't always realize the importance of our vote. I heard a commentator on one of the news programs this morning say that brown is the new white. And however offensive that may sound, it really means that now people are starting to realize that our vote is essential for you to be elected on the national or the local level. And they say over and over again, even the current primaries, they're down in South Carolina now, and they're looking for black votes because they know a presidential candidate can't get to the White House anymore without our votes. Let's reflect on how history repeats itself. Because if you don't know the history, you're going to repeat it. The struggle from slavery to the right to vote. The laws that were put in place to prevent African Americans from voting. Remember the intimidation, the violence perpetrated against those trying to vote, right up till the 1960s and the passage of the Voter Rights Act. But then we forgot. We fell asleep at the wheel. We let the Voter Rights Act expire. Now you see it starting to repeat itself. New laws being put in place that prevent African Americans from voting. Mass incarceration, where we disenfranchise millions of black Americans from voting. We have candidates that now can become president by openly advocating and getting a lot of public support for it to discriminate against Muslims. We have to wake up and realize the power of our vote and educate ourselves and others. We are in challenging times right now. These are challenging times for Muslims. Because if a presidential candidate like Donald Trump can get the support that he's getting, we have a lot of work yet still to do. I urge you to continue to support the efforts of the Muslim League of Voters, become members, give us money, but help support the great work that this organization does. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Let's give another round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. At this time, we're going to bring up the president of the Muslim League of Voters. Unfortunately, slated on the schedule was Senator Raymond Lasniak. Unfortunately, he had a family emergency. He's going to be unable to attend. However, he did send a representative that gave us something to share with you all with regard to this event and the Muslim League of Voters. So without further ado, I want to bring up the President, Jimmy Smalls. Let's bring him on with a round of applause.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Now, I hope it's a hard act for me to follow from my classmate from graduate school, better known as Imam Mustafa. It's also a hard act to follow my dear friend of the last 40 years, Qasim, who says he doesn't talk a lot. I ain't seen that lately. He's been talking a whole lot. And the chairperson of our organizations, Sister Rashida, a lawyer, so I'll do my best to contribute. However, Senator Lesniak, whose district we're in, which represents Elizabeth, Hillside, Roselle, and I think Union. But he couldn't be here. However, he did something that I find to be extremely important. He was able to get a resolution passed by both the State Senate and State Assembly, recognizing the Muslim League of Voters in today's affair. I'll read you that resolution. Whereas the Senate and General Assembly of the State of New Jersey are pleased to honor and salute the Muslim League of Voters of New Jersey, a highly esteemed organization within the Garden State, upon the auspicious occasion of its first annual Red Dress Affair luncheon. And whereas this significant event will take place on February 13th, 2016 at the Galloping Hill Inn in Union, and a portion of the proceeds will be generously donated to the American Heart Association. Whereas the praiseworthy goal of the Muslim League of Voters of New Jersey's first annual Red Dress Affair luncheon is to raise awareness of the fight against heart disease, to learn the signs and symptoms of this serious illness, and to promote the steps needed to maintain a healthy heart. And whereas the strength and success of the state of New Jersey, the vitality of our communities, and the effectiveness of our American society depend in great measure upon concerned and dedicated organizations such as the Muslim League of Voters of New Jersey, and whereas in both the proper and fitting for both this legislature to pause in its deliberations to salute the extraordinary efforts of the Muslim League of Voters of New Jersey and to note the occurrence of the first annual Red Dress Affair luncheon. Now therefore be it resolved, the Senate and the General Assembly of the State of New Jersey, that this legislation hereby honors the Muslim League of Voters of New Jersey, acknowledges its organization leaders and members, and extends best wishes for a successful and inspiring first annual Red Dress Affair luncheon on February 13, 2016. And be it further resolved that the duly authenticated copy of this resolution, signed by the Senate President and the Senate Assembly Speaker, and attested by the State Secretary and the State Attorney and Assembly Clerk, be transmitted to the Muslim League of Voters of New Jersey. And this is what the legislative resolution looks like, and I think this is a first for the Muslim League of Voters, and it won't be a last, because from this point on, we are going to work to move not just the Muslim League of Voters, but all organizations that are involved in politics to vote. Because as was stated by our chairperson, we have people, in my opinion, on both ends of the spectrum, on the far right and the far left, who have ideas that are just overly expensive. If you don't want people in office that are going to do the wrong thing, vote. And that's what we are here for today. So I want to thank you very much. But before I leave, we call this a Red Dress Affair, but we never explained the origins of what that means. So Sister Samira, you're going to come up and explain what it means to have a Red Dress Affair. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم ومن شر أنفسنا بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين. I seek refuge from shaitan, the rejected enemy, and the evil from within myself. And I said in the name of God, most gracious, most merciful. Okay, so where this idea came from, one of those emotional. Okay, let me. So what happened? My father was 52 years old. He went to turn the channel of the TV, and he fell, and he had a cardiac arrest. My oldest sister, 58 years old. She was a mother of all mothers. She was always preparing herself. And this specific day, she had a dentist appointment the next day, and she said to her family, I'm going in the kitchen, I'm gonna cook dinner, because tomorrow I'm not doing anything. She went in the kitchen to proceed to cook, and she fell, and she had a cardiac arrest. My nephew, 47 years old, had 2 strokes, 4 cardiac arrests. He was a coach, a basketball coach at Irvington High as well. And he had the cardiac arrest, and he died at 47. Okay? My aunt, who assisted in raising me, she lived with a heart disease problem all her life. She lived until 86. She just returned to Allah September 24th. And that was a wonderful thing because she taught me a lot. She's the one that instilled God in me, taught me that there was a God. So I always had that thirst for knowing that there was a higher power, and that's how I came into Al-Islam. So lastly, of course, me, as the years went on, I'm waiting for that moment. When I turned 50, I waited. You know, when I turned 52, I waited. When I turned 58, I waited. Okay, so by the grace of God, I hit the 6 decades, by the grace of Allah. And I say, Alhamdulillah. So, my vision was to share how important it is for us to take care of our hearts. And it's full circle, and I'll talk about that later as well. But that's how this concept came about. I wanted to do it individually, and we were talking about ideas of fundraising. I'm like, oh, take it. Let's do this, you know. So that's how this came about. And I pray to Allah that you guys enjoy this event, and I pray to Allah that you embrace everything that's shared with you today, because it's beneficial. It will be beneficial in every step of the way. Thank you so much for listening.
Takbir. Just to add on to Sister Samara's account in terms of her experiences, February is considered to be National Heart Health Month. Is everyone aware of that? Right? So what's happening simultaneously throughout the country is that they're having similar events like the one we're having this afternoon. The various hospitals in our communities are having these quote-unquote red dress affairs. So the concept is nothing new. It's just that it's not something that's promoted within our communities. And as we all know, CHF, which is congestive heart failure, AMI, which is a myocardial infarction, which is a heart attack, it's very common within our communities. So this particular event, as I indicated from the outset, is not just to have fun, but it's to educate us. On the table in the rear, we have several patient education materials that we hope that you will take with you, because it shares with you some of the things that we should be doing in terms of our dietary intake. It's promoting exercise, so on and so forth. So I'm not going to belabor the point anymore, because the person who's going to really share with you a wealth of knowledge is our next keynote speaker. So, I failed to mention my beloved brother, Ayiz Islam, from the American Muslim for Democracy. Please, would you please stand, my brother? Thank you. This brother also supports all our events. And just to give you some idea, what he actually initiated a couple of months ago was a coalition of political organizations that are Islamically affiliated to come together so that we could come together and try and make a difference in terms of politics. So we're working with him on a consistent basis. He reached out to Jimmy reached out to other organizations. And as a result of that, we are working collaboratively. So thanks for coming. So again, just to reiterate, she is a registered professional nurse currently practicing on a cardiac telemetry unit in Elizabeth, New Jersey. She has been dedicated to providing significant levels of care to such underserved populations since 2012. She is also in pursuit of becoming a family nurse practitioner at Rutgers University. She is anticipating graduation in May of 2017 with a doctorate of nursing practice degree. Advancing to this role will prepare Shakira to translate evidence into practice and improve the poor quality of care delivered to vulnerable populations. Shakira Abdul-Razak intends to stay devoted to the minority community by practicing as a primary care clinician and opening nurse practitioner coordinated health clinics in underprivileged areas. In her spare time, Shakira sincerely enjoys educating her Islamic and African American community about various health and wellness topics to best prepare them to care for themselves and please their Creator in the process. Brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, I am honored to have the opportunity to introduce our keynote speaker, Shakira Abdul-Razak. Let's bring him on with a round of takbirs and applause. Allahu Akbar. Takbir. Takbir. Takbir.
All right, Assalamu alaikum everybody. Good afternoon. Wow, subhanAllah, you guys look great in all your red. You know what? This reminds me of my future dream. When I graduate from graduate nursing school actually, I'm going to buy a nice red Ferrari. You're laughing, I'm serious. I'm saving up. I got about $250,000 to go, okay? You know what? I think you all deserve a Ferrari, don't you think? So let's say, hypothetically speaking, I'm going to buy you all a Ferrari. I'm not even going to make you go down to the dealership. I'm going to let you order everything online, from your interior design to your leather seats, all the way to the bad stereo that you want. And let's not forget, the most world-renowned Ferrari engine, the most powerful engine, is owned by Ferrari. So you order it online, they let you know it's going to be at your house in about 2 weeks, right? So then a week goes by, you can hardly wait, you're so excited, then you get a phone call. You get a phone call from the dealership saying, look, we got an unexpected amount of Ferrari orders this week, we don't know what's going on. You think everybody hit the lottery or something? But we ran out of Ferrari engines. But don't panic, we own a Ford dealership next door. So we're gonna take one of the Ford engines and put it in your Ferrari, okay? You're like, okay, since Shakira's tweeting me, I can't complain, you know. So, fast forward a week, you get your Ferraris right outside, it looks perfect. Exactly how you designed it, customized and all, everything, perfect, right? So you get in the car, you get ready to go show it off to all your friends, and the thing won't start, right? So that engine is your heart, okay? That engine is your heart. You do not take care of the perfectly designed heart that God gave you. If you do not take care of the perfectly designed heart that God gave you, the rest of your body is going to be insignificant. So, the information that I'm going to present to you today is going to focus on how to best take care of your heart and maintain healthy. Okay, so let's start off with what is the big deal? What is the big deal with heart disease? So first of all, heart disease is the #1 killer for all men and women. And I emphasize on women because research shows that women don't believe that heart disease is a big issue for them. When in fact, 1 out of 3 men die from heart disease, but 1 out of 4 women die from, 1 out of 4 men die from heart disease, but 1 out of 3 women die from heart disease. So it's a very important issue that we need to be cognizant of. And then half of the deaths that are related to heart disease are from coronary artery disease, so I'm going to focus there. But the most significant statistic that I found was that about 50% of African Americans will have heart disease and or a stroke. So this is attributed to what I like to call the 3 monsters. Anyone know what the 3 monsters are? Anyone want to take a guess? What about salt? Stress, no. Okay, I'm gonna let you know. The three monsters are high blood pressure, high cholesterol, diabetes, and obesity. I said 4, it's supposed to be 3. High blood pressure, diabetes, and obesity are the 3 main causes for heart disease in African Americans. So now we're going to talk a little bit about your heart. So your heart is the hardest working muscle in your body. It pumps about 4 to 5 liters of blood every minute to your entire body. So the importance of that is that its main function is to pump the nutrients and oxygen-rich blood to your entire body, and even to itself. So that's the coronary arteries. The coronary arteries, like you can see on the side of the heart, are responsible for making sure that the heart itself gets enough nutrients and blood to pump to the rest of the body. So what is coronary artery disease? So with high cholesterol, over time, it deposits into plaque in the arteries within your vessels. So your arteries become very narrowed. As you can see in the picture, it's called arteriosclerosis. Now, does it look like a lot of blood can get through the vessel on the right? Exactly, so it's clogged. So their heart tissue is not getting enough oxygen and nutrients that it needs because it has that blockage there. So coronary artery disease is a huge problem. So what are the symptoms of coronary artery disease? Anyone have an idea? Fatigue. Okay. Chest pain. Arm pain. Okay. So let's talk about the symptoms. So the first one is the majority of people have no symptoms for a long period of time. None at all. But subhanAllah, our bodies are absolutely amazing. So when you have one of the vessels that's blocked, your body actually compensates for it. Like as you can see in the picture, the blue area of the heart is not receiving enough oxygen and nutrients that it needs because that vessel is blocked. But over time, the blood vessels realize this issue and they actually grow to make sure that area of the heart gets the nutrients that it needs. So you can see in the picture B that the vessels actually grow there to make sure that that area still gets the nutrients and the blood that it needs. So it's amazing until those vessels get clogged too. That's when you start to have a problem. So that's why it's very important that you go to the doctor and you get annual physicals every year, because you cannot have no symptoms. You might be walking around fine, but you still have this going on in your body. Just like if you were to have a Ferrari, you want to make sure you get your engine checked right. You want to make sure you get your oil checked. You have to get your body checked before you start to have problems. So then someone said chest pain. So once blood vessels are moderately blocked and you blocked off the alternative pathways that your heart made, you may start to have chest pain when you're doing different periods of activity, especially when it's cold outside. Like a few weeks ago when we had the snowstorm, I was actually stuck at work that whole weekend and we had a lot of heart attacks. Because when it's cold outside, your blood vessels get smaller, they constrict. So if you have your blood vessel getting smaller, you have this atherosclerosis in your vessels, you have that plaque buildup, and you're working hard, your heart can't meet the demands of your body. And that's how you start to develop chest pain and sometimes even a heart attack or sudden cardiac arrest, but we'll talk about that. So when you start to have periods of chest pain, first you start to have periods of chest pain when you're doing different physical activities because your heart can't meet the demands of your body. But then once you rest and take a break, then the chest pain will stop. That is a strong precursor for you to have a heart attack. So you want to definitely get to the doctor so they can check your blood, they can check your blood pressure and make sure that if you need to be started on medications or not. So your next sign is an actual heart attack. Some people may not get chest pain at all. They may not have any symptoms at all. And then all of a sudden they have a heart attack. So unlike chest pain, the tissue does not actually die. It's just not receiving enough nutrients that it needs, but once you rest, it's able to, catch up. But the heart attack, you can see in that darkened area there, the tissue actually dies. It's so significantly blocked off that heart tissue doesn't get enough nutrients, doesn't get enough oxygen, and it dies. And that's what happens with a heart attack. So you'll get chest pain, continuously. The chest pain won't stop when you rest. And then lastly, unfortunately, people may not have the luxury of getting chest pain or having a heart attack. They just collapse and die and go straight into cardiac arrest. Like unfortunately, like the sister who was here today and her family. Does that make sense to everyone? So let's move on. So let's talk about the signs of a heart attack. So most people think heart attacks are sudden and dramatic, like how you see in the movies. Like my mom was saying, why don't you show them a video of someone having a heart attack? I said, it doesn't work like that, Mom. So usually people have them very subtly, they ignore it actually. That's how insignificant they think it is. It's not as dramatic how we see on TV. So I'm going to use the acronym STOP to help us make it easy to remember. So S is for shortness of breath. If you're all of a sudden you're sitting down watching TV and you're having shortness of breath out of nowhere, that's a problem. You need to get checked out. T is for tightness, chest tightness or pressure. It's not even pain. People don't even call it pain. A lot of my patients tell me it just feels like an elephant is sitting on my chest or a tire is squeezing my chest and it just doesn't feel comfortable, like something's not right. But it's not pain, especially men. They don't want to admit that they're having pain. They just, I got something going on right here. It's not really a big deal, and it is a big deal. O is for other symptoms, such as you break out into like a cold sweat, or you get weak and fatigued out of nowhere. You start to have nausea and vomiting, or heart palpitations, which is when your heart starts to beat really, really fast out of nowhere when you're just sitting at rest. You become dizziness, or you become dizzy, or you even lose a loss of consciousness. So remember, your heart is a muscle and it's providing blood to your entire body. So if your heart is not getting enough blood that it needs to do its job, neither is your brain. So you may start to develop these different symptoms. And P is besides the pain in your chest, especially women, they have pain like in their neck, in their jaw, in their arms, in their back, in their shoulder. So they don't attribute it to having, a heart attack. They say, I just was having this really bad toothache or this really bad jaw pain. And I didn't know, what was it for, but I didn't pursue to look into it further, and they actually were having a heart attack. So if you don't learn anything else from this entire presentation, if you experience any symptoms like the ones we talked about, please make sure that you call 911 and don't wait. You know your body better than anyone else. So if something is going on out of the ordinary, you need to call 911 or you need to have someone take you there as soon as possible. It's better to call 911 because the EMTs and the paramedics, they're trained about this chest pain and heart attacks, and they have medications and different things to make sure that you get the help that you need before it's too late. Because about 325,000 people die every year of a heart attack before they even get to the emergency room. Because they wait and wait and wait and wait, and by that time, it's too late. So don't waste time. So we're going to talk about, back up a little bit. We're going to talk about what increases your risk. So we have modifiable factors and non-modifiable factors. So the non-modifiable factors are things that you were basically born with or things that you can't help. And then you have modifiable risk factors that you actually can help, and you'll see that list is a lot longer. So first, we're going to start off with age. So as you age, you're more at risk for heart disease because your blood vessels get older just like you do. So they become less flexible, they make it harder for your blood to move through them easily, causing your heart to work harder than usual. And then a family history. Heredity plays a huge role in your personal risk for heart disease. Be sure to talk to your family about their history, especially your parents, your grandparents, your brothers and sisters, and make sure you let your healthcare provider know about this so they can watch you more closely. And race. So as we talked about, African Americans are largely at an increased risk, but so do other races such as Mexican Americans, American Indians, and Asian Americans. So now let's talk about the things that we actually can change. So the first thing is high cholesterol. So we talked about all the plaque buildup. We talked about how it can severely decrease the blood from getting to your heart. So it's mainly caused by a poor diet, and it leaves, like we said, all that plaque buildup. The next one is smoking. Smoking causes your blood vessels to constrict, just like how when it's cold outside, it gets smaller. So it increases the work of your heart and your blood pressure. And diabetes. What is diabetes? Sugar. So diabetes is basically when you have an increased amount of sugar in your blood vessels. It's like the basic, right? So if you think about a lot of sugar being in your blood, so you think about syrup, right? If you have syrup in your blood, think about how hard it is for your heart to pump that around your entire body all day, every day. So now, obesity and physical inactivity, what are we doing to our body? So when you carry around all that extra weight, it also increases the work of your heart unnecessarily, day after day after day after day. Fourth, fifth, is drugs and alcohol. In the area that I work in, cocaine and heroin abuse are highly common, highly prevalent. So I see this all the time. Heart attacks occur very commonly, especially in with cocaine because it overstimulates the heart. And alcohol increases your blood pressure. And high blood pressure. How many people were sitting around here thinking, I don't have heart problems, I just have high blood pressure? If you have high blood pressure, you have a heart problem. High blood pressure is a sign that your heart is being overworked. Do you know that the prevalence of high blood pressure is the highest among African Americans in the world? Not America, the entire world. Okay? So not only is it more severe in African Americans than whites, but it also develops earlier in life. So we're going to talk about high blood pressure for a second. So how does high blood pressure affect the heart? So remember, your heart is a muscle, right? So if your heart all the time, like if you were lifting weights all the time, what happens? Your muscle gets bigger, right? So that's what happens to your heart. Your heart gets, the bottom, we call them ventricles, get bigger. So you see on the picture on your right, the muscle gets so bigger that not a lot of blood can get there. And think about like a bodybuilder. A bodybuilder, they're all nice and buff, but they can't sprint a mile, right? So the muscle gets bigger and bigger and bigger. The bottom chambers of the heart can no longer fully fill with blood, and the heart cannot effectively pump blood to the rest of the body. So this ultimately leads to what we call congestive heart failure, or heart failure. Well, it can't pump the best that it can, and basically the blood starts to back up into the lungs and into the rest of the body. Also with high blood pressure, over time think about having such a high blood pressure in your vessels all the time. So this is going to damage the inner lining of your blood vessels. So naturally, when you have a damage or you have an injury anywhere in your body responds to that by inflammation, right? So it sends different blood vessels to that area of the body to make sure that the healing processes start. But this is the worst thing that can happen because with that inflammation, it makes the pathway even smaller for your blood to get through. So you have inflammation, you have the plaque built up from high cholesterol, and the blood is not efficiently getting through to your heart and to the rest of your body. So this is why high blood pressure is such a huge issue. It can cause all this permanent damage to the heart and the vessels before you even notice any symptoms at all. So that's why high blood pressure is commonly called as the silent killer. So, let's talk about living a healthy lifestyle. I'm glad they put me before lunch. So now, what are we going to do about this? It's all about getting healthy and staying healthy. That's the basic rule. So the American Heart Association actually developed this 7 simple ways to prevention. So you have to control your cholesterol by eating right, lose weight by being physically active, stop smoking or never start smoking, keep your diabetes and high blood pressure controlled. All right, so does everyone know, we have good cholesterol and we have bad cholesterol. It's kind of confusing, I'm going to break it down as simple as I can. So your LDLs are your bad cholesterol. So they're the yellow circles in the picture. So your bad cholesterol is a major component of the plaque that causes your arteries, right? But your HDLs are your good cholesterol. So they basically help carry out the bad cholesterol. Think of them as like the cleanup crew. And your HDLs your good cholesterol, they increase when you exercise. So you can decrease your bad cholesterol by eating healthy, and you can increase your good cholesterol by working out. So that's why it's important for you to work out and eat healthy. So with that combination, you can help control your blood pressure. So I'm going to talk about the types of foods that have the bad cholesterol in it. First of all, let's look at this child in the picture. So as a side note, I am a mom, and we have to be careful about what we are feeding our children and our grandchildren. Don't start bad habits. Childhood obesity is at like an all-time high. You don't want to start them young, eating French fries every day, and they come out looking like this in their heart, and they have heart problems and diabetes at such a young age. So you want to start them off healthy. Okay, so we're going to start off with egg yolk. Egg yolk has a lot of cholesterol in it, and we're going to talk about what you can do besides egg yolk to kind of like make a switch. Next thing. So fatty meat, organ liver, just gonna fry chicken. And fried chicken and fried fish that we love so much. Milk fat, butter, cheese, ice cream, whole milk. Hidden fat like in bakery biscuits, pastries and cakes, patties, food time, cholesterol, low nutrition, soda, junk food, candy, all the stuff that you like.
What's all the good stuff? Yeah, we should have
I know there's a lot of our favorites on this list, but the next time you are getting ready to eat a greasy piece of fried chicken, fish, some ice cream late at night, some cake late at night, I want you to imagine this. That is cholesterol, that's actual cholesterol, high cholesterol building up in your vessels. So remember that all that plaque buildup from those foods that you eat, that you love so much, it's going to eventually lead to a heart attack or sudden cardiac arrest. So there's no way around it. You have to be careful and watch what you eat. So first of all, I found this good quote. It said, don't take the word eat out of your vocabulary. Replace the word eat with nourish. Because when you're eating, that's what you're doing. That's what you're trying to do to your body. If you're just eating junk, you're not nourishing your body. So the first rule is to look before you eat. Eat smarter. So I'm not telling you guys to go on a diet, to go crazy, but you have to eat smarter, and you have to be more cognizant of what you're feeding your body. So, egg whites versus, so let's make the switch. So we can try to egg whites versus whole eggs every day. If you want to have a whole egg, it's okay to have one whole egg, but you don't want to have it every day. If you have a whole egg, you want to eat it every 2 to 3 days. But egg whites are the better for you because they don't have that yolk that causes bad cholesterol. And they're great. I eat them every day. They're fine. They taste the same to me. Next. Switch to baked or grilled chicken instead of the fried, greasy chicken. Switch to fat-free or 1% or 2% versus whole milk. It takes away that extra fat that's in the milk that you don't need. You can switch to a variety of different colored fruits and vegetables every day. But you can make it fun. There's different ways to eat vegetables. You can try juicing, but don't get crazy with the juices. I know there's a lot of fad diets out there where they're drinking juices for breakfast, lunch, and dinner to lose all this weight. God gave you teeth for a reason, okay? So don't go crazy with the juices. If you're gonna have a juice, try to have a juice in the morning or at night with something to eat. You don't want to just use it as a substitute for every single meal. Next. So try to eat less than 6 grams of salt a day. Salt increases your blood pressure. So you want to stay away from foods that are high in salt. So what type of foods are high in salt? Okay. Potato chips, pretzels, fast foods, restaurants, processed meats. So you have to plan ahead. If you know tomorrow night you're going out to dinner or you're going over to your mother's house to eat soul food, don't have a bag of chips at lunchtime. Don't have soda the night before, ice cream the night before. You want to try to save your calories. If you're going to have that high-fat, high-salt meal, you want to try to spread it out. Don't just hit your body with that all the time, repeatedly, okay? So this is not a diet. I'm just trying to help you make a few switches to help you live a healthier lifestyle. Your body will be, especially your heart, will be very grateful. So eat a variety of grain products. So what this means, you're not eating grains that are enriched with sugar, like white bread. You want to try to switch to whole wheat, or quinoa is really good for grains. Like we said, choose non-fat or low-fat products. And I know that we're all Muslim, but I work in a population where we have a lot of alcoholics, we have a lot of drug addicts, and a lot of them do claim to be Muslim as well. So I don't like to judge people. So if you are a regular drinker, only drink 1 to 2 drinks a day. Because like I said, alcohol increases your blood pressure. So, and then also if you're a smoker, you have to stop smoking now. There's a lot of different programs out there. Smoking is the #1 addiction, the hardest addiction to conquer, even worse than like heroin. So smoking cigarettes increases your blood pressure, it decreases your good cholesterol, and it damages your arteries and blood cells. So if you're smoking, you're like a heart attack waiting to happen. Okay? But once you decide to quit, the good thing is that the risk of you having a heart attack, it starts to decrease within just 24 hours once you stop. And then after a whole year of quitting, you decrease your risk for a heart attack by 50%. So the sooner you start the quitting process, the better. Next. So can you read this quote? It says, the doctor is talking to the patient. He says, what fits your busy schedule better? Exercising 1 hour a day or being dead 24 hours a day? So I know everyone is very busy, but you have to take time to take care of yourself and take care of your heart. Moderate to intense physical activity for 30 to 45 minutes on most days of the week is recommended. Remember that exercise increases that good cholesterol. So we want to get rid of that bad cholesterol. So by doing that, we improve our diet and we exercise to help clean out all that bad cholesterol. But you don't have to go crazy. You don't have to join a gym. You can start off small. Well, right now it's kind of hard because it's cold outside, but you can just walk. You can go for a walk with your friends, go for a walk with the children, maybe even your spouse. And if you don't like walking with your spouse, maybe you can sex your way to a healthier heart. I said it. Now, sex doesn't replace your regular workout, but a study published in the Journal of Cardiovascular Disease found that couples who have sex twice a week have a reduced risk of cardiovascular disease. This is for my married couples though, okay? So before you do that though, you have to ask yourself, when was your last checkup? You should always keep your regular medical exams at least once a year. Keep your appointments consistent on a memorable day. So you want to maybe make your appointment every day on your birthday, or if you're married, on your anniversary, so you and your spouse can go together. You want to keep it on a day that you know you're going to remember so that you don't forget about your yearly appointment. Because as we learn, a lot of the many symptoms that can happen with heart disease, they don't have any symptoms at all. So now what? So how are we going to get and stay motivated? The first thing you have, now I just presented you with this fabulous presentation, right? So now what's the next step? We have to get motivated and we have to stay motivated about getting healthy. So I'm going to give you 3 easy steps to follow. The most important thing is to know your why. You have to think about what is motivating you to get healthy. Personally, my first and foremost why is to please the law, is to please God, and to take care of the heart that He perfectly designed for me and the body that He blessed me with. And secondly, I'm a mom, so it's my son. The next one. So how to get and stay motivated. You have to set a SMART goal. Is everyone familiar with SMART goals? So basically, they're more specific. Instead of just saying, I want to lose weight, you got to say, I want to lose 20 pounds by increasing my exercise 4 times a week. And I want to lose about 2 pounds a week in 10 weeks. So you're very specific and you make sure that it's measurable. I was going to have you write out your goals because I put index cards on the tables, but I'm running out of time. So I'm going to leave it here for a second. So basically, you say, I will blank. So what your goal is, whether it be to lower your blood pressure, lose weight, maintain your weight. You want to put a timeline on it. You want to say within the next month. And you want to see how you can measure that by saying, I know I'm making progress because I'm losing 2 pounds a week, or I'm going to the doctor every month and my blood pressure is going down. And you want to give yourself, like I said, a limit and a number of weeks or months. And my third point is to just do it. You know what you have to do? You have to love yourself enough to live a healthy lifestyle. Don't wait for a heart attack to happen to take action. Don't wait till you start feeling chest pain to start taking action. You have to make sure you're being consistent with your medical appointments. And you want to love yourself, like I said, enough to keep a healthy lifestyle. I know that you all can do it. And thank you. That's it. So, alhamdulillah, I really appreciate you all for taking the time out to listen to me. I just want to give a quick shout out to thank the Muslim League of Voters for giving me the opportunity to educate my community and use the tools that Allah has blessed me with and to please Him first and foremost. So, does anyone have any quick questions? If not, I'm going to be around for a while. I'm going to be doing blood pressure screenings.
Students, sometimes some of our students that talk about smoking weed is healthy.
There's not enough research that supports that. So,
Does it,
go ahead.
does it cause, like, smoking itself cause damage to the parts of the body?
Marijuana?
Marijuana.
So marijuana, there's a lot of research going on. There's nothing really set in stone. A lot of the doctors that I work with and I talk to, they're against it because they said they think personally that it does more harm than it does benefit as far as it's not really addicting, but it has like a mental addiction. And they haven't really found significant or solid research saying that it's going to help them better. Like I know in California they do cataracts and for pain, medical reasons, but it still is not a significant amount of research that supports that. Any other questions? No? Thank you.
Thank you. Brothers and sisters, please, let's give her another round of applause. You're probably full from the hors d'oeuvres at this point. I hope you're not, because there are plenty of food that's available for you. So with that being said, I guess we can proceed with the serving of the food. And as you're doing that, I'm just going to make several announcements in terms of some of the events that are taking place locally within the community. So don't let me hold you up. I'm going to let you all get started with the food, and I'll just read the announcements at the same time. But I do want to bring this to your attention. The keynote speaker brought to our attention several things, and it's hard to remember them all because I didn't see anyone taking any notes. So with that being said, there's a lot of patient education material on the table in the rear that the American Heart Association, as a result of Margaret's efforts, have provided for you all here. So I ask that you please take it with you so I don't have to take it back home with me. Okay? So there's plenty of it over there on the table, and it's very informative. It talks about atrial fibrillation. You may be wondering, what is atrial fibrillation? The patient education material tells you all about it. So again, to reiterate, please pick up your literature before you leave and enjoy the food. We're going to serenade you with the band at this point, and we'll take it from there. Thank you so much. Now we'll give them an opportunity to get something to eat too. Go work something. So anyway, listen, we do have some other items that we want to present to you this afternoon in terms of the program. There are some inspirational videos that we need to show you with regard to heart health. But prior to doing that, I am going to bring on the president of the Muslim League of Voters again, who has some very important information to share with you as it relates to voter registration. However, I hear a lot of talk still taking place, and I think it would only behoove us to try and listen so that we can be the beneficiaries of the great news that he has to share with us. So that being said, let's bring along with a round of applause for the Jimmy Select.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Unfortunately, in the Muslim community, times have changed. If this was the 80s or 90s, when I first got involved in politics, it was bid'ah, kufar, haram, shirk, and any negative term that you can think of in reference to al-Islam amongst ourselves. People wanted things, but said, no, we don't need to be involved in the political process. Now, I want to read you a quote from the Prophet Muhammad. Push on through the storm of information around you. See through the confusion and conflicts. Learn to distill and reveal the essence. Ignore the blasphemous and lures. Keep your mind calm, focused, find the truth. And in politics, that's what you're looking to do. For instance, if you have a masjid, and that's tax exempt, if they want to play games with you, the parking lot, they can charge taxes on. And that is happening right in this state. The Islamic Center of Basking Ridge, they were trying to build a masjid from the ground up. But they told them, well, you can't build it because the zoning board says you have to have 2 more parking spaces. And that is totally incorrect. Now, how you can resolve that is to vote. Vote to put the right people in office. As we always like to say, too, and this is from the Quran, Surah 3, Ayat 104. Let there arise out of you a band of people, inviting that to all that is good, enjoying what is right, and forbidding what is wrong. They are the ones to attain felicity. We need to be that band of people among Muslims and others to do just that, to get out and vote, get out and get involved. And one way that you can get involved is to be a part of the Muslim League of Voters. We are asking you today to join us. Join us in the work that we're doing to do voter registration and voter education. And as I said, Bilal Beasley, who we all knew and loved, was one of the first. People always forget about the pioneering brother that got elected in the 1970s. Carl Sharif was the first Muslim to be elected to a political office in the United States when he was elected to the Newark School Board in 1979. But again, that took voting. That took voting, and voting is how we can attain a lot of things that we need. I'll give you an example. The elections are coming up. And we have people, you have one candidate on the far left said, we need free colleges, free medicine, free that. Who's going to pay for it? Who's going to pay for it? The other one, we're going to build a wall. We ain't letting no Muslims in here. How? How you going to do that? That's on the other side. Not to mention somebody like Kasich, Bush, and all these others that don't want to have nothing to do with Muslims either. Don't sleep on none of these people. None of them, because they don't like us. And one way to make sure we don't get any of the wrong people in office is to vote. And if you vote, when you vote, they look at blocks of voters. They look at blocks of voters. Even if your team, your candidate loses. They say, wait a minute, they have 600 people over here that voted. We need to go after them for the next election. But you gotta vote. We are now also Muslim League of Voters in a New Jersey voter registration project with AMD, AMU, and a whole lot of other Muslim organizations. And we want to get as many Muslims out as possible. I got a statistic today that I found, I was flabbergasted, about the so-called number of registered Muslim voters in the state of New Jersey. It is said it's only 48,000. We gotta do a lot better than that, y'all. But we need your help. We need your help in joining us in the Muslim League of Voters. We have, and they will be coming around, some brochures. To be a part of us is a modest $25 fee, and with that fee, you get this beautiful pen, lapel pen, with a picture of the Kaaba on it, designed by our own Vice President, Qasim Salam. So brothers and sisters, please become a part of us. Brother Rajan is going to come around with some of the brochures. Please sign them and join the Muslim League of Voters in New Jersey, started by Bilal Beasley and pushed by Paul Sharif, two brothers we have returned to Allah not that long ago. But it was their wish to make sure that we kept this work going on, and we fully intend to. Assalamu alaikum.
I seek refuge from Allah, rejected enemy, and the evil from within myself. Good evening. Thank you everyone for coming out. Bismillah. Please be patient with me. Okay, so as previously mentioned, the red dress incident was not my idea. I read it, but I thought it would be a good idea that we brought it to our community. Because for those that were not here, my father was 52 when he deceased with an instant cardiac arrest. My sister was 58 years old with massive cardiac arrest. My nephew was 47 years old. Again, all young people, very young people. And as the years went on, as I said, when 50 came around, I was waiting for the moment. When 60 came around, I was waiting for that moment. However, if I know nothing else, I know that we plan, but Allah is the best of all planners. So therefore, one of the things that I've always tried to do, and tried to be a person of wanting for my brothers and sisters what I want for myself. If I do nothing else, I try that. I try to give of myself. So, as they talked about, that piece of flesh in the heart, if it's good, then the whole person is good. And if it's bad, then it's that way too. So I ask Allah much to turn over my heart and make me firm in my deen. And don't allow my heart to become dark. I ask Allah much for that. So we do that in a full circle. We have to do that nutritionally. We have to do it spiritually. We must do things physically. Am I right or wrong? So I don't think any one person in this room is exempt from having that heart disease. Okay? Because we must live right. We must feed our bodies right. We are what we eat. So we have to take everything that we have been educated on today and apply it, each and every one of us. Thus, I'm not trying to take up a whole lot of time. So therefore, I think that if we take all of these things in consideration, we can make life a little bit easier. But again, we know that Allah is the best of all planners. So we have some small raffles. But first, let's start with that 50-50 that we collected. Makti, can you pull the first ticket, please?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, the first and only ticket for the 50-50.
What did I do with the bucket? Somebody stole the bucket.
Well, anyway, I have $53 for the winner whenever we find that basket. $53. That'll pay a bill. And I just said, anyone wanting to purchase tickets, please put your hand up. We'll come to you right away. 3 for $5 and 1 for $1. Thank you guys so much. Maki, pull some off.
How many are this supposed to get? I don't know how to do this.
3 for $5 and 1 for $1.
Say that 2 more times.
3 for $5 and 1 for $1. $1.
Got some more here? Okay, here we go. I need some MLB members to help me out here.
Thank you guys for
Everyone, thank you for coming and vote, vote, vote.